The highly anticipated sequel to one of the greatest movies of all time, Gladiator, starring Russell Crowe. Gladiator II has had its first look images, according to Vanity Fair. We're going to get into some of the shots that we've seen in the article of the highly anticipated sequel and what they may mean for the success or failure of this movie. We're going to do it right now. While we're talking about Gladiator II, do us a big favor. Smash that like button, leave us a comment, hit the notifications bell for future content, and most importantly, hit subscribe so we can continue to grow our channel. So, Sterling, Gladiator, I haven't asked you this before, but it remains, one of my top 10 movies of all time, starring Russell Crowe. You don't get much better than that. You tell me what you think about Ridley Scott, Russell Crowe, and your expectation without knowing anything about what we're about to cover about the sequel to it.
Well, Russell Crowe didn't have anything to do with this one.
He's not in it.
Which, if you watch the first one, you understand why. But
right.
I love Ridley Scott movies. I mean, even Napoleon, which got a lot of crap for kind of just throwing too much in there. The battle scenes and just the look of that movie was still pure Ridley Scott, in my opinion. And I think he still does a lot right. I think he's going to make a good movie, and he's going back. He's making a sequel to probably his biggest hit or one of his biggest hits. And this is my favorite movie he's done.
This is Ridley Scott's wheelhouse. This is what this is what he knows, right? This is right down his alley.
You don't get a lot of these movies anymore. I mean, I don't see a whole lot of big budget war epics.
No, and what's cool is this movie actually starts with a battle of Numidia, a siege, and our main character, played by a relatively unknown actor. I've seen him in things like Normal People and other stuff. Paul Mescal is playing the character of Lucius. So for those that maybe don't know, Lucius was actually in the original Gladiator movie. He was the little boy. So he was Connie Nelson's son in the movie, and it was alluded to that maybe Maximus was his father, right? And so at the end of the day, we know what happened to Russell Crowe's character, but Paul Mescal is playing the main character in this new movie, and he is a victim, becomes a prisoner of this siege or battle of Numidia, and that draws him into the arena. So if you're wounded in ancient Rome, you end up getting put to death, and if you're fit, you get put into service in some form or fashion. In this case, he gets put in the arena. So we see the first shot that we're going to put up on the screen, and it's Paul Mescal, and clearly he's been working out. He's got the the gladiator armor on. He's got the sword, and he's got the sand going through his hands. So it looks like he's ready to go to battle. This first shot this gets me pumped up, right? This is Gladiator. I mean, he looks the part.
Great.
And then you have someone that we've seen in probably everything lately. I'm getting a little tired of seeing him in every project. Pedro Pascal himself is playing a character that was in the original Gladiator movie. We didn't see him, but his character is under the command of Maximus, and so he's battle tested, but you don't know whether he's on the right side or wrong side of things, and so we'll see how he relates. It looks like in this scene he is going to be fighting in the arena, so whether he will be squaring off against Lucius, we don't know yet. But Pedro Pascal, I know, Sterling, we get tired of seeing him, and he seems like he's been in everything, but this first shot looks pretty cool. I mean,
the armor looks great.
The armor looks great. It almost looks like Medusa.
Costumes are on point.
That is Medusa, right? On the front plate?
I think it is, yeah.
Because those look like
those
snakes coming from her hair. And it looks like he's over a legion there. So
Ridley Scott's always done a great job with costumes and sets, and all that stuff's always been top quality.
And Pedro's playing a Roman general, Acacius, a man in deep regret with his life and doesn't know where to go with it, according to Ridley Scott. So, we've got him and a great shot of Pedro Pascal. And again, we talk about the northern coast of Africa. While he was a child, Lucius was sent to a region called Numidia, which was just outside the reach of the Roman Empire. And so he's separated from his mother, And then when this battle happens here, he gets captured or imprisoned or whatever draws him back to Rome. And then we see in our next shot, we see one of the greatest actors of all time, Denzel Washington, who plays a former warrior who is an arms dealer. He's gotten really rich. He lives lavishly, and he keeps a stable of gladiators for sport. And we don't know what his motivations are. I think it'd be really cool if Denzel played a villain. I mean, what do you think about the shot of Denzel there? It looks great.
Yeah, it's cool because it looks like, there's a lot of attention to detail. You can tell he comes from a different land, and, just by the way he's dressed and
sitting in a gold chair.
Yeah. Ridley Scott pays attention to that kind of stuff,
Yeah, really cool shot of Denzel. I mean, anything that Denzel's in, he's good. He's even in movies that he was in that weren't great movies, he's great in all of them. So, I mean, this is a great cast so far. And then you have a shot of Connie Nielsen, who's returning as Lucilla. Did you know she was going to be in this movie?
No, I didn't.
So she's returning from the original Gladiator movie, and she looks great. I mean,
how old's the original now? Like,
was in the 90s, the mid 90s.
It's almost 30 years old.
Mid to late 90s. So, yeah, probably 27 years old, 26, 27 years old. And, it talks about as her son's growing up, it was really the only weakness that Lucilla had was her son. And so what her role is going to be as she sees her son for the first time in a long time in the arena, that'll be a major plot point for the movie. And so we'll have to see how that shakes out. And then there's got to be an emperor. And there's got to be a Caesar or emperor in any movie that has to do with Rome. So we have the characters of the dual emperors of Caracalla and Geta. And Geta is the weaker of the two. So we have two characters that are Roman emperors, and so they're dividing their power, and which never works out for long. And so you have Caracalla, Emperor Caracalla, and Emperor Geta. And Emperor Caracalla ends up murdering Geta to assume power. And so we've got our shot of one of the emperors right there. So pretty common for what you would think an emperor would be like, right? It kind of has a feminine quality of the makeup on the face, almost a little bit kabuki-like, right? And the gold robe. And so obviously that looks like he's in the Senate, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's at the...
Yeah, it looks like he's in the Senate with the robes being worn around him. Great shot. Again, really got attention to detail. We have another shot of Paul Mescal's Lucius. It's a pretty cool shot of him, kind of in his gladiator garb. And then we cut to a shot of Ridley directing Paul Mescal from inside a prison cell. These are great shots. And then we have a guy who I first saw him in Stranger Things is Eddie, Joseph Quinn, who is playing Emperor Geta. And, I don't know how big of a role Joseph Quinn's going to have in this because obviously they're splitting power. But it's good to see him getting roles like this. I think he's also going to be – is he going to be in the Fantastic Four as Johnny Storm?
Yeah, he is.
So he's starting to be one of those guys that's getting bigger roles. And so interesting the power vacuum of these two emperors. They're twins and damaged goods from birth. And so this sets up the storyline is Lucius makes his way to Rome. And so as Lucius battles Acacius, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. We have a shot of Lucius with Roman soldiers around him with his sword drawn, which looks like something right out of the original movie. I mean, the shots of this movie are fantastic. And so, very interesting to see in that. And then you have a shot of Lucius again inside the arena, blood on his forehead, sword drawn. He's in battle. And then this is an interesting shot. There's Lucius inside a cave or a walled off area that looks like maybe somewhere around the arena where the gladiators fight the Colosseum. And there's a shield that's on the wall. And that shield is very familiar. So you recognize that, Sterling?
Is that a shield or that looks like armor?
That's armor.
That's
that's armor and a sword below it on the wall.
Yeah, I think that's Maximus.
And there's the name under it, carved in stone,
Yeah.
Maximus.
Yeah.
So, man, that's a great shot. That's the shot this is the best shot in all of the Vanity Fair article, because they're drawing back to Maximus. You can't not do that if you're going to make this movie, and so pretty cool. And then we have a final shot where we see a wider shot of the arena that they're going to be fighting in, and which harkens back to the original movie. So as they get prepared to get our first trailer, which we're now hearing that the trailer will be playing on the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, which comes out later in July. So we're going to be getting a teaser trailer from Gladiator II this month. So we're going to cover that when it comes out. Final thoughts around Gladiator II based on what you've seen here for the first time, Sterling?
I mean, I think I'd put that in my top 3 most anticipated movies. You know, I honestly don't feel like there's a whole lot made for me anymore, but this is one of the ones that I feel was actually made for us, right?
Absolutely. They don't make movies like this, and this is definitely catering to the people that want to see that type of action with history rolled into it, the mythology of it, the gods.
You don't see that with this kind of budget, you know, because now, I mean, movies have ballooned to.
You know, they do them as TV streaming series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but I mean.
And this cast is great. I mean, you know, you don't want someone in the main role that you think about playing other roles in other movies. So the fact that Paul Mescal is on the rise as an actor, it's good that we're going to see this role, and he's going to be identified as Lucius, which is not a bad thing. But you know, we'll be here to cover it. I wanted to cover this Vanity Fair article. I think all the images are great. It makes me excited for the film, excited for the trailer coming out this month, playing with Deadpool and Wolverine. We'll be here to cover it. Let us know what you think. Are you looking forward or interested in seeing Gladiator II? What are your thoughts around the fact that Russell Crowe's not in it? We have a new cast of characters revolved around the character of Lucius. Let us know what you think while you're doing that. Smash that like button. Hit the notifications bell for future content. And most importantly, hit subscribe so we can continue to grow our channel and TCB.